Today's Mega64 podcast is brought to you by Squarespace. From online stores to websites, analytic tools, and marketing, anything to start your web presence can be found at squarespace.com. Okay.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Hey, what's happening, everybody?
This is the official Rise of the Skywalker cast. If you haven't seen it,
Yeah. This is
that's
the
okay.
official.
Yeah.
This is going to be a spoiler-free podcast.
Yeah.
We're not going to spoil it for you.
Well, nothing.
My favorite character was Bibu Phip. You don't know who that is. I'm not spoiling
You
it.
don't even
know.
know who that is. Yeah,
All
I mean,
I'm
you don't-
saying is wait until that part at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
you're
Yeah. The part.
I'm not saying
I'm not gonna
anything.
say what. But all I'm gonna say
Yeah.
is watch out for snakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to say a certain female Jedi might pass away. We don't know. We don't know who it is.
don't know
who it
That's
is.
not a spoiler.
Yeah. You don't
More
know
than
who-
one.
It could be anybody. It could be Luke. Could be Vader. Could be
Could be any female Jedi.
could be anybody.
Anyone? No one knows.
Don't worry about it.
People are laughing. You said Darth Vader, but you don't know who was in that costume.
True.
Why couldn't that have been a woman?
Exactly.
You don't. They never showed you.
Yeah, you never saw.
I
it.
never- I didn't
They
see
ne-
the other
he
one.
never took his mask off.
No,
Yeah.
ever,
Not
never.
once in the movies.
It's the way.
Well, you did see who it was without the mask, but they were bald. But women can be bald. Okay, it's Britney, bitch.
True.
Yeah.
And she threw her umbrella just like he did the lightsaber thing.
Get
You know,
rid of it. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like the same.
It's the same thing.
footage.
Let
This
the
is
past
great.
die.
They rotoscoped Britney to make Vader. If you want to know how Hollywood works.
Okay.
Now you know how Hollywood works.
Yeah,
It's
a little
gift
treat.
from us to you. This is a special edition of the Mega64 podcast. This is the Rise of Skywalker cast. We're going to be talking about the movie, dissecting the movie, analyzing the movie, over-analyzing the movie.
Yeah.
We're not giving our opinions. We're
Oh.
giving our definitive facts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's not even an opinion.
Not
Not
even
its
an
law.
Fair.
All of us here, the four men on your screen right now, are film experts. We
Yeah.
are experts in
Yeah,
the
we kind of
craft.
know everything about what it is.
We're
to do
experts in the
that.
craft of making films. We are experts in the craft of watching films. I would say we're even better at watching films than we are at making them.
I'm really good at watching
Yeah.
films.
Yeah, the
I'm like
best.
real good at it.
What we say on this podcast is law. And I just wanted to get that cleared up in the very beginning so that there's no confusion.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So with that being said,
Sure.
we will now review Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of the Skywalker.
Oh.
Da, da, da,
Oh,
da, da, da,
yeah.
da, da,
I'll make a Star Wars theme song just for this.
Yeah, by John Williams.
Oh, yeah. Should we say?
It-
yeah, that theme song.
I'm a lonely horseman, got my pistol. I'm just trying to be somebody besides a lonely horseman. Got my gun at my side, I'm just trying to be a lonely horseman, lonely horseman.
We can.
Do you want to? Should we test the camera real quick?
Test
Sorry,
it.
people at home. We're
do
having
you test
some
the
weird
camera?
issues with the camera. Like cutting between them. Is it going to be okay?
That worked.
Maybe it's
That worked.
fine. Maybe it's okay.
This is
now.
green thing every now and then.
We hooked up
Hold
so
on, cut between me. I'll give the camera too much data to go.
Yeah, we're testing. We're gonna. This is the
Overload it.
hardcore test.
we had so much shit
Now
hooked
cut.
up to this computer for the Christmas cast.
Yeah.
That I think we like fried its chips.
All right,
Yeah.
I think it's working.
We fried some
I think
chips.
it's working great.
Yeah, we'll do
actually.
our best. This is a bonus podcast, everyone.
This is fun. We have fun here.
If there's anything wrong with it, just know it's a bonus, so you can't really get mad.
Hey, let's start
Yeah.
this off by saying happy birthday, Rocco. It's
Yeah.
Rocco's birthday
Thank
today.
you.
Whoa.
Wow. Thank you so much.
Happy birthday.
I want to say it was the best birthday ever for a few reasons. And again, I'm going to remind you, we're going to get into spoilers on Rise of Skywalker. Okay, so keep that in mind because they're going to come out of nowhere like a bus off the side of the freeway.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens. Buses do that. They just go
in the
off.
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in
That's
this
a reference
movie.
to the movie.
Ooh. Spoiler, sorry.
Carillion
No,
bus.
no more sorries.
Ray cannot drive a bus. She can fly a ship, but see there. Anyway, okay. So, anyway, this has been the best birthday ever because one, this shirt that I ordered from a bootleg site 2 months ago showed up just as my birthday hit. Now
Dude, I
the
didn't
best
see
part.
that.
Hold on, the best part is the back.
Yeah.
The back
that till
doesn't
just
even make
now.
sense. Can you read it? Does it even?
It says nothing. Wait. Nothing exists. Money isn't real. Time isn't real. You aren't real. They aren't real. Death isn't real. Life isn't real. Pain isn't real. Nothing is real. All of this is a simulation. One big video game, and God has the controller, and you are God.
Oh, I
So it goes
saw
the whole
a
thing.
meme. Those were Steve Jobs' last words.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
He said that to his whole family on his deathbed. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Really beautiful way
Money
to
is
put
a
it.
real thing.
So I was stoked.
He was on acid.
Within the 24 hours of span of my birthday so far, got this, and then the even greater gift, Rise of Skywalker gave me two things. One, it was entirely the theory I laid out on this very podcast 4 years ago.
It's amazing.
Go find
Yeah.
the old podcast. Everything that I said and was laughed at for came true. Go find the podcast.
I'm in the theater, and I think out loud I said, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, you
Rocco."
did. You did.
I didn't even mean to say it. It just came out. I'm like, I can't fucking believe that this fucking dude
Called it.
got it right.
I got cackled at for that theory so much, and then
Yeah.
it was like, oh, it's all happening.
when
But I think, well, first of all, congratulations, Rocco.
Well,
Congrats,
yeah,
Roger.
is,
hey,
that a,
that's-
is that a good thing or a bad
You
thing?
were right.
I think it's
but
good.
I believe it comes with a caveat because I feel like they just made this up for this movie.
Yeah,
And
I do
this
too.
Was
I
not,
do too.
I do not think this was the plan.
Yeah.
From the get-go.
I 100% agree.
And this was them
Oh,
doing
interesting.
a course correct.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think so too. I just want to add to that too. They also canonized the piss saber.
they did.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
did.
Now, I was, Rachel was saying earlier, it was a little more orangey.
Nah,
but
it's
but
piss.
when you're dehydrated,
Yeah, a lot of vitamins
that was a
after.
piss saber.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I felt that way too. I felt like this movie was doing a lot of and again, I'm not even approaching this from a fuck Last Jedi kind of thing. I'm really not.
Sure.
But there wasn't a lot done in terms of like an overall overarching thing for this trilogy. And I felt like this movie had to do like 2 movies worth of that
Yeah.
in the first half of the movie. The first half of the movie, I was losing my fucking mind.
I've heard a lot of people
I was
say
going
that.
like, what we were 30 seconds into it, and the Emperor's back. Okay, okay, look at all these ships I have. I'm going, what slow down. Yeah.
It was a lot. It was a lot right out the gate.
Yeah. But however they arrived at the Palpatine thing, I was
Yeah.
right. And that's what counts.
But you know what? Your
right.
points
Round of applause,
back
Rocco.
in the day,
There
I
you go,
will.
Rocco.
You were right.
Right.
Credit where credit is
your
due.
points back in the day were a couple things. You said her family abandoned her, and that's fucked up. That's like Han and Leia or good people wouldn't do that. And then you said she has an English accent, and that is
Yep.
something that is characteristic
anyone
of the
with
Sith.
an English accent in the
You said those things, and
bad.
you know what?
Evil.
Like maybe this was the plan. I don't know. I think it could have been the plan.
there's things in it. So I just rewatched this whole last trilogy.
Yeah, me
Sure.
too. Me too.
And there are things in it because I had heard a theory going up to this that I didn't know if it was a spoiler or not. Someone gave me a theory, and when I rewatched them, I'm like, this is starting to add up. And what I had heard was that Rey was going to be a clone of Anakin. That like Palpatine was like fucking with clones a long time ago, and she was like a discarded one.
Vader
Like,
didn't
that
work out, so
yeah,
try
like
again.
who's this girl? Like this didn't work out.
Okay.
And as I rewatched this trilogy, because I kind of like I waved that off. But as I was rewatching this trilogy, I was like, shit, that's adding up. She's got all these memories of like she's got a she has a vision of being in that hallway in Empire Strikes Back.
Right.
She had all these little memories that lightsaber called to her and all that. And I'm like, ooh, that's adding up. And I thought, well, that's how they'll do this. She is technically nobody. She's not like the son of Luke Skywalker, but she is a clone and she has all these like abilities and things. You know what I mean? Like that's where I thought they were going to go with it. And especially when they started bringing up clones and dark shit experiments and stuff in the beginning of this movie, I was like, that's gonna happen. I think, yeah, that was a spoiler. I think that's a. But they just went full in on just like, no, you're your granddaughter. And I don't know which I like more. I don't know actually how I feel about.
I want to
that,
know
but
who's Palpatine's son or
that's what I'm
daughter.
saying.
Well, one of
there's,
those.
there's too much missing
One of those
information.
people.
You
I
saw
wanna
the
know
parents. Which one was it?
Who fucked wrinkly old
That's what I'm
Emperor
saying.
Palpatine? And shouldn't that have been on camera?
Yeah.
We've seen
Yes.
40 years of Palpatine's life over the course of 9. He's practically in every movie.
Yeah.
He never showed any game on any girls.
But
I think that's an important scene. The Emperor likes what he sees.
I think
Come here often.
he force electric, burns all the clothes off of some
Oh,
girl.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Let's see that.
He'd do
That's
some
important.
Weinstein shit.
That's important.
Yeah, he would be like the Weinstein of the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
The Empire.
I can get you a role in the Senate.
Yeah, it would have been better for his bad guy persona.
Come back to the throne room.
So I think I have my own fan theory: artificial insemination.
I'm going to jerk off into a probe droid.
I think Palpatine jerked off into like a clone droid, exactly
Yes.
what you said.
Yeah.
And out comes this supposed son
Yep.
And then,
who turns into an alcoholic in the desert.
leaves his daughter
Yeah, piece of shit.
Yeah.
to a junk scrapper.
Deadbeat dad.
There it is.
Palpatine's a deadbeat dad too, because
See,
apparently he had a kid.
Well,
For the
never
whole
raised
fucking
him.
Trilogy, the original trilogy, we never saw the kid.
I think Sean and Rocco are both kind of right because your theory was that she's Rey Skywalker. I mean, you guys even named your dog.
If you, the last line of the movie is Rey Skywalker, and it's like that's right. Rocco said I was going to eat my words when I named my dog Rey Skywalker, and here we
So
are.
you guys
We're
are both
right.
We were both right.
How
Let's
about
give you a
that?
round of applause,
How about that?
Sean.
Yeah, I want a round. Thank
Round
you
of applause
for my
for
round.
Sean.
Thank you.
Yeah. Guessed it
Thank
too.
None
you.
of that was shoehorned in.
No, I really think to what you were saying, Derek. I honestly think this thing with her, I'm going to go ahead and say,
Okay.
I think she was going to be, they bring up cloning and all that shit. I think she was going to be a clone or something. You know what I mean? I think there was going to be something more unusual about her. And I think they got real desperate making this third one and went, look, our last thing here, like there's no unifying. I think the biggest failure of this trilogy, I'll say this, and I'm going to say, I overall enjoyed this movie. I will say that.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest failure of this trilogy, though, was the villain situation.
Yeah,
Was just
it's
like,
muddled.
who do I fear here? You know, even in the last one, all the villains are kind of like cracking jokes, and who am I going up against? You know, that was always kind of in question. And I think them going into this one, it was like, well, look, like we can play the Emperor card. Let's go all in on that. You know what I mean? And they went all in on that within 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of neutered all their villains that they had been establishing.
Which, it's
'cause
funny.
one of them ends up being a spy.
Right.
Yeah.
Which,
Spoiler alert.
That was, well, this whole thing was cool.
Kylo, is supposed to be this generation's Darth Vader. Kind of just flips midstream, just decides like, you know what? Maybe I'm not a bad guy. And then it just raises this question of like, who is the antagonist in these films?
Well, I have no problem with Kylo's arc.
What's
It
the
took 3
opposing
movies.
force here? Really?
But the prequels had the same issue of
Who's the bad guy?
who's the bad guy?
It's like
we got
the
Darth
government.
Maul, we have Count Dooku. Who fucking cares?
Sidious was infiltrating all of it. So
Sure.
there was one.
But
It was the same guy.
So,
But
yeah,
all those
sure.
guys that you mentioned, Darth Maul, Dooku, they were true to their characters. They were bad guys, and they stayed bad guys.
Yeah.
And there was never a twist. Darth Maul wasn't secretly a spy. Count Dooku didn't have this
Right.
redemptive arc of, maybe I don't want to be a bad guy.
Yeah. But I think a 3-movie arc of that, and at the end he decides he didn't. I'm fine with that. And
it mimics Anakin and his Vader turn at the end of
Totally.
Jedi.
I think another thing, too, is making Rey related to Palpatine raises all these like strange questions that had been set up throughout the other films. Like the psychic link between Kylo and Rey,
Right.
I thought was due to some sort of bloodline.
That's what I
but
thought
now
they were twins.
But
or
now they're
something.
like definitive not related.
Yeah.
And that's
so-
why I'm saying I think she was. It starts to make a lot more sense when I really think if she was like a a failed clone of Anakin, it makes sense why all these things called to her.
Yeah.
Why the Skywalker connection was there.
Yeah.
Why I really think I heard that a long time ago, and I thought, oh, is that? And the whole time I'm watching this movie, I'm like, okay, they're going the Palpatine route. Okay, I talked about that before, and I'm not pissed about that, but I really think that was like a rewrite or something. I'm gonna stick with that. I think that got rewritten. But anyway, I was just gonna say on a general note, we got into some kind of specific stuff there. The only other thing that I predicted that I went in like, thinking like I think this is gonna happen was that this is a chance for them, Star Wars is a series where all these old characters can come back as ghosts. And I thought in the finale, we're going to get participation from all these spirits.
Mm-hmm.
And that we kind of got the poor man's version of that.
The
like
voiceover.
it did happen, but it didn't kind of, it's like everyone, you heard the voices of all these things, but it wasn't like they were all physically like, yo, we're with you. Let's fuck this guy up.
I didn't need to see that.
Yeah. And I'm not saying like good, that's, good or bad or anything, but that it kind of did happen. But anyway, my general feeling on the movie, I just want to say up front, is the first half I really was like suffering from a broken neck. I really was like, this movie has no chill. Like, holy shit. It was moving at such a rate that I was like, really, they're doing 2 movies worth of like arc building for the trilogy that wasn't done in Last Jedi, And so for the first half, I was like, I was enjoying it, but I was like, okay, chill. But the second half, they got me because I love all the end game shit of Star Wars. They always get me with that. So I enjoyed it.
I just watched Last Jedi yesterday, and I was so bored and desperate for anything to happen watching that I was like, give me more, go faster, because I want something to happen.
Yeah,
so fucking do it, and I'm into it.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Was it really is kind of the opposite situation there? And again, I rewatched Last Jedi just recently, and I honestly like all the there was a point where I had a lot of problems with a lot of story things in it. And a lot of that has kind of gone by the wayside. Like I enjoy a lot. I enjoy the material that's in there. It's just that, and I think we all agree. I think we were just talking about this, that generally everyone on here agrees that it's like one act worth of stuff over a 2.5 hour movie is my issue with it.
Yeah.
It didn't budge the trilogy forward. That's my thing. And yeah, this one definitely, I feel like, felt the effects of that, where it's like, shit, we got to do like a lot of this to get it going.
We gotta win
and
them
so
back.
you had an opposite effect where it's like, we're on fucking fast forward mode, like, to get this shit done. And so I was kind of like, okay, slow down. But again, by the end, I was like,
The rebels were in this movie. The rebels started out doing shit instead of just arguing about what to do.
And
that's what
they're
what
all
the last
together,
movie
and the
was.
whole fucking team was together, and
Yeah.
that was a blast. So it's like, you got me, okay. But anyway, that was how I felt on that. But there were a lot of moments I really liked. There were a lot. Well, what did you guys think? Like overall?
I loved it. I really liked it, and I did not go into this thinking I was going to, honestly. And
I went in kind of just like, hey, whatever.
The Last Jedi, to me, I only saw it once in theaters until I watched it yesterday. And I was just like, I just don't like this. It just doesn't do. And this was just like so much, and I really enjoyed it. I didn't need the character building. I didn't need any. I just like, hey, blow shit up and let's end this thing. And I was on board with all of that.
I kind of went in with that attitude a little bit, and I ultimately enjoyed it. I do feel like, well, I kind of said this, but the failure of the thing that I do think it showed, I enjoyed it, but it did show to me, especially that first half, that you got to plan the whole fucking trilogy. Because, man, it really... I remember after the first one, they were saying, like, that, they set up all this stuff with Snoke and all this blah, 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 And I remember reading, like, they don't have, like, an overarching thing. They're letting each director do their own thing.
Yeah. And
I remember thinking, like, so did JJ just write Snoke not knowing what he was going to be? The whole thing just felt like, wait, they're really not planning this? And I just feel like that showed. Mm-hmm. Despite whatever that I enjoyed, it did to me show that hand of like, ooh, what are we doing with part 3 now? Ooh, it didn't. I feel like it's kind of crazy to me that these TV shows now have like huge like multi-season plans, and people expect that.
Right.
But the Star Wars trilogy couldn't do that.
It's up
like
to
that.
each
That was really
director.
weird to me, and I just feel like that did hurt the whole product.
Well, yeah, he should have done all three.
Did
Like,
JJ
he-
do 2?
yeah, or just
No,
have
just
one.
one.
Have
I think
one
two.
person do all
Okay.
three.
Win 3.
Whether it was JJ or somebody, I feel like you needed to do that, and I don't know why they. That really was baffling to me. And again, and I'm saying this as someone who liked all. I enjoyed these. To me, the fucking Star Wars trilogy ended with Return of the Jedi, and this has been extra stuff, and I've enjoyed everything in some way or another. I love the Star Wars universe, so I've had a good time. You know what I mean? Like I'm
Yeah.
saying this as someone who's enjoyed them,
Yeah.
but it's just weird to me, like that they went that way with it. Anyway, I keep talking. Sorry,
No, it's fine. Garrett, what did you think?
I liked it too. I was drawn in like with that kind of exciting start where it's you got the characters kind of splitting up, going on their own little missions again, which you kind of had in the first one, which was cool. But then yeah, everyone meets back up in the big fight at the end. Like I kept fucking wiping tears out of my fucking eyes just because shit was so cool, and the music would kick in,
oh, that
and then
music,
like
it's, yeah.
fucking cameos would get me. Like I didn't know Billy D. Williams going in at all. So I kind of get the sense like, oh, that dude's talking under a mask. Who else? This is very similar to Jedi. It's another character in the opening had a mask. And then, the big reveal comes and just all of that shit is fucking like, I'm a sucker
Hey,
for it.
there was a moment in the theater, Garrett, where you out loud you went, "Oh,
really?
And that's when Luke brought the X-wing out, and then Ray has
Yeah.
the helmet on, and Garrett just
Oh, yeah.
started like moaning. He was so excited.
that was
Seeing that kind of stuff, like
yeah.
really,
There's
got me.
some when they do callbacky kind of stuff. Sometimes I'm like, okay. Sometimes I'm like, didn't need that.
Yeah.
And sometimes I appreciate it. That was one that I really liked. That was the most like goosebumpy I was. During
But there
that
was
movie
like 6
him
of them.
lifting that was a great little payoff. to
They
that.
hammered my emotions up to like the X-wing rising out.
Yeah.
was like the last of 5 previous like Ben talking to his dad and
Right,
all of the things like just one after another were hitting me and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't that X-wing supposed to be broken? Did Luke junk that to isolate himself on that planet? Wasn't that the
Well, he
point?
sank it.
Yeah, he sank it. I don't know. I mean,
Did they show it in Rise?
Yeah.
of?
Yeah.
They did show it down there.
no.
Yeah.
In The Last Jedi.
In Last Jedi.
When
Oh,
she
okay.
got there, she saw it.
She saw it.
she
Oh,
saw
okay.
it. But they never said if it was broken or not. I don't think.
But usually vehicles, when they're soaked that long, they're fine.
wasn't that the point? He isolated himself there.
I mean, that's what she went
Whatever.
to go do too, because when she landed, she torched
Yeah,
Kylo's
exactly.
shit.
Nah, she fixed it.
Plot hole.
We found one.
it.
Sorry.
Fuck.
We found the one.
Sorry.
Who's this new little droid mechanic creature?
Baba is you. I don't know. What was his name?
I don't know.
I
Yeah.
thought I kept seeing
Are you
Baba.
talking about the droid Dio or Boba Fett?
Baba
Fett.
Fip. Yeah, I thought like this thing's gonna get annoying, but then it
I love that
grew
thing.
on me.
Yeah.
That thing looked like a little animatronic that would be in a pizza restaurant in Japan. Like in Disneyland, they would have that thing like serving the pizzas or something. I like that.
Yeah, good mix, like
was my favorite
practical masks and effects. And
Yeah.
the like bounty huntress gal that's Poe's friend in her helmet and everything. I
Yeah.
thought looked super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a lot less like CG only creatures in this. And that's I think that was the plan with Force Awakens was that they would all be practical, but like
Ran out of time?
No, Han Solo, what's his fucking name? Harrison Ford.
Oh, he hurt
broke his
himself.
hip, so they had
Yeah.
to change the order of the scenes. And so like what's her name? Fucking
Maz
Maz
Kanata.
Kanata was like not supposed to be CG, but they went fuck it, like we have to shoot this now.
And I didn't know that's Lupita Nyong'o that plays her.
Yeah.
I saw her name in the credits. And Dominic Moynihan is in this.
Yeah, why?
Yep.
Why?
Yeah.
Just he wanted to be in it. I
Good for him.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him
Awesome.
in a while, but it did take me like, what the fuck?
And there's like important information during that scene, and I was like, oh, I didn't hear any of that.
I'm looking at
Because
Charlie.
everyone's going, what? Not Palpatine's boat.
I'm singing "Come on, everybody" in my fucking head. Hey now, everybody. What is
You
the
all,
lyrics?
everybody.
You all, everybody. Even worse.
You're close enough.
Derek, what did
Derek,
you think?
talk about it.
I'm not laughing at you, Garrett. I think you were close enough.
Yeah.
Derek, talk about it, but let me just say, dude, like, I loved it. So really, like, if you're gonna bring me down right now, like, just don't. Okay. So I'm really gonna fucking ask you your respect right now.
It was a fun movie. I think it looked cool. I'm scared to say.
No, who cares? Who
Hey.
fucking care? Hey, I went into today with the most fuck it attitude about this. I don't give a shit.
I'm scared to say
Rip
my
it
thoughts
apart.
on the movie because it's going to turn into a fucking 30-page Reddit
Oh, well, that's another story.
discussion
That's
about
another story.
me and how I'm an asshole. But
Clearly hates film and hates his friends.
yeah. So when I saw Force Awakens, it kind of occurred to me that like, hey, I liked Star Wars, the original trilogy, and nothing's ever going to be that.
Yeah,
So this isn't really Star Wars. It begs the question of like, who gets to be the authority on Star Wars? Who gets
Sure.
to say what is canon and what is not canon? You read all the books in the 90s. Well, suddenly that's not canon anymore because Disney threw all that out. It turns
Sure.
into like whoever has the most money gets to make the rules. Disney bought the name for Star Wars. They made this $100 million movie or whatever the budget was. So therefore they get to be the authority on what Star Wars is.
Sure.
I kind of don't buy into that. So if there's things, I'm watching the movie thinking to myself, this irks my Star Wars fandom. There are things here that I wouldn't like, because they don't match up with what I perceive to be Star Wars, but I'm not in charge.
Yeah.
So this kind of was like the world's greatest Star Wars fan film. But to be honest, I thought it was very plot heavy, a very plot driven movie without a lot of character motivated story.
Yeah.
It was just things happening. We have to go here, then we have to get this, then we got to do this,
Yeah.
we got to do that. There was a lot of stuff that I just said, you know what, fuck it, I don't care.
Yeah.
All the characters, especially Rey, are like overpowered right from the very beginning.
She's got healing force power now.
She could fucking
Yeah.
magically heal people. She could fly. She's meditating
Yeah.
and flying with the proton rocks flying all around her at the beginning of the movie. She does this graceful flip back down to Earth. The whole movie, I'm thinking like, just fucking fly around. Rey, I know you can fucking
Yeah.
fly.
Yeah.
Oh, you
It
got to get
did-
to that ship over there. Fucking fly
Yeah,
there.
it did hit a Neo point, and I really was going into this one too, just like Rey's had it too easy. She's gonna like hit a bad fucking end or something.
She's
it never really
super
happened.
overpowered.
But here's. Oh, sorry. I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
With the point of her being a Palpatine, that I let that go. I was like, well,
Yeah.
this is what the ultimate good can do, because he's the ultimate evil, and his powers, I still don't know all of the things he can do, but it's fucking nuts. So her being
Are you
the
talking
opposite.
about Palpatine? Or are you talking about, oh, okay.
So
yeah.
her being related to him, it's like I feel like she has more powers than the average Jedi. She's
Sure.
like Super Saiyan level here.
And they did that in the prequels. Like Yoda and
Yeah, but they
Palpatine
all
fly
are.
around too.
They're all like way more powerful than anything we've ever seen before. The minute the movie starts, she's flying, and I'm thinking, all right, well, you're already more powerful than any Jedi we've ever seen in the
Yeah,
history of
yeah.
this movie, and we're only 5 minutes into it. I feel like the movie was written by the world's coolest 12-year-old. If I was 12 years old, that's exactly the movie I would write. There's so many moments in that where she like force grabs the ship and pulls it down.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
imagine a kid describing that scene. They're fighting and they're fighting over the ship getting away, but then she's like, "Nuh-uh," she grabs the ship and she's fighting so hard that force lightning comes out of her hands and it blows the ship up.
Yeah.
But then it's like, oh my God, what did I just do? There's a lot of things that would make you think, plot hole. But then, you just don't worry about it because the movie just keeps going on. It's just plot after plot after plot.
Yeah.
So it was a fun time, but I don't want to think too hard about it because then I'll just get bummed.
Yeah, we're in regards to it being kind of written in that 12-year-old kind of way. I will say though, I don't even disagree, but I will say though that there's stuff in the original movies I feel that way about. Like
Yeah, absolutely.
Return of the Jedi is my favorite, and I will say, yeah, that is just melodrama central. It's throughout that movie is there's a lot of moments I would describe.
This
in that
movie
same
was
way.
very melodramatic.
But yeah, it was. But everybody looks for something different. No one can really agree on what they want out of Star Wars. I mean, you can even look at all the other shit that came out this year. Like even Galaxy's Edge that they opened in Disneyland.
Sure.
You had some people walking out of it like that was fucking mind-blowing. Like that was insane. I love Star Wars my whole life. That was like fulfilling in a way I can't even blah, blah, blah. And then you had lifelong fans go into it and go like, this is bullshit. They fucked this up. This is like
I think
no one really has the same arrival of what they want out of Star Wars.
something I thought was funny was the trailers before the movie.
Oh,
God.
wait, there were trailers before the movie?
It was literally every goddamn movie Disney is making
Every
currently
Disney movie.
was advertised before this movie. Here's our new Pixar movie. Here's our new
Yeah.
Marvel movie. Here's our new animation remake.
Live
Yeah.
action.
Here's
yeah.
our new random comedy. Here's this and that. It was like they were really punching everything in there.
How
And they
long?
were all kids movies, generally speaking. And I think this is a kids movie
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
ultimately.
yeah.
No, it is.
Star Wars has
And-
always kind of
Yeah,
occupied
and
that
so
space.
I kind of can't fault it for it's very like upfront. They don't deep dive on nuance. They don't
Yeah.
have too many complex characters. There's no conflicted characters. It's
Yeah.
very what you see is what you get. That's the good person. That's the bad person.
Yeah.
There's some ambiguity with Kylo Ren, but other than that, it's very like face value. So
Yeah.
that is not my favorite kind of movie, but
Sure.
I'm not going to fault Star Wars for being what it is.
Sure.
I think for me, there were, and this isn't even a problem. This is just an observation I had. There were so many like wild, logical jumps, just back to back to back. Like Rey thinks she kills Chewbacca, but then later on she's like, "No, I didn't kill Chewbacca because I can sense his presence over there." And I'm
Yeah,
thinking
yeah.
like, well, why didn't you sense his presence when you fucking thought you killed him? You were way closer to him at that moment and you thought he died. Now he's fucking 2 galaxies away. It's like, hold on, I'm picking up something. Has a psychic link with Chewbacca, which is weird. I don't understand the psychic link with Kylo Ren. I really don't understand the psychic link with Chewbacca. I really, really, really don't understand her psychic link with a knife. We lost the knife. No, I know where the knife is. I can sense
I'm a
it.
knife
feeling.
expert.
That knife was a beautiful piece of cinematic storytelling. Turns out to be like a location device for the thing they're looking for that
Yeah.
lines up with the wreckage of the Death Star.
Yeah.
Who could
Yeah.
fucking plan that?
Yeah.
The fucking coincidence that she happens to just land on the spot where her
Yeah.
perspective is perfect, where she could line the blade up with this piece of wreckage and then pull out the compass thing and be like, oh, it points exactly to where I need to go. That was really convenient, if you ask me.
yeah.
The movie was filled with stuff like that, but
With that specifically, when that moment happened, my first thought was like, "What? Why the fuck would this exist?"
Yeah, and it must be
but-
new. It must be after Endor.
But as
Yeah.
I thought about
Yeah.
it after a minute, I thought back to Force Awakens and when they talked about like, yeah, I've got a message from Luke Skywalker, and she's like, Rey is like, Luke Skywalker? Like I thought that was a legend. Like I thought that was just a myth. Like all of this is through the lens of myth. Like all of this happened long ago that then it was like, okay, so people are making like artifacts and shit from this time that was past them. You know what I mean? It's like it became like, oh yeah, these old wars are almost legend to them. So then I was like, all right, whatever.
well, the war was 30 years ago.
Yeah, but in that galaxy, hey, 30 years. It's like
And
internet time. Like
I-
a week ago is like 100 years.
Just
you know?
the way it works is you have to line the blade up with the horizon of this wreckage. That can only be done from one perspective. Like, how is that
Yeah.
a functional tracking device? Like, it was just very convenient.
Yeah,
All the like Sith language and like the Palpatine's like big coliseum of cult members
Yeah.
and like on the Sith planet, that all felt, even the elevator into that was like magic floating force
How
elevator.
did so many of those followers, like they're following Palpatine, but nobody's communicating with the First Order?
Right.
Like,
So that
Yeah,
that seemed like ancient, like old Republic shit, like prequel shit almost, like
Yeah.
the Sith language that no one is forbidden to read or whatever. And that being like, yeah, very new. Like, no, they
So-
made this stuff after.
and just to be clear, like I'm not saying fuck this movie. This movie's, if you like this movie, you're
No.
stupid.
no, we're
I
picking it
just
apart
think
now.
if you step away and you don't take this movie too seriously, there's a lot to laugh at. There's a lot to make fun of. It wasn't mind-numbing. Like I wasn't in my chair being like, "Oh fuck, get me out of here." I was
No,
watching it.
I didn't
Yeah,
think
of
that
Quick
at all.
rollicking adventure. Wasn't very deep. Wasn't a super intellectual movie.
Yeah.
It was fun. Whatever. Not
Yeah.
my favorite movie.
Like I said, a lot of my shit that I could complain about is just, that first half, I was so assaulted by so many things that I really was like, that was where I had all my moments of like, this is showing the hand of like meddling kind of stuff. But I must clarify, once we hit the second half, I'm like, hey, you know what? they got the fucking Emperor back in the mix, and we're going, and like this is all the Endgame stuff that emotionally pulls me, that always does. Why Return of the Jedi was my favorite. People are always like, that's the corniest one, that's the cheesiest one. Yeah, but it was my favorite.
I think
and it tapped into all that bullshit.
If somebody just sat you down and they're like, I'm just gonna tell you a Star Wars story.
Yeah.
No movie, just here's some popcorn. We're gonna light a fire, campfire stories, and they tell you that movie.
Yeah,
You're listening to the ramblings of a psychopath.
yeah, totally.
Just they're describing beat by beat what happens, and you're like, where the fuck did you pull this from?
Yeah. But again, for me, it tapped into what I was getting at before when I was comparing the movies to the old one. Blah 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 blah. Everyone wants something different out of Star Wars, so I will just say, for me, it was never these kind of like meta takes on things or kind of like analytical whatever. There's certain movies I'll look to that for. Star Wars to me was emotional melodrama. It was always melodramatic. You know what I mean? Like, to me, it was, Luke confronting Leia. Do you remember your mother? I have no memory of my mother. I remember she was sad. Like all these just little, it's sappy. And this movie brought that back in. That was like the most I could have hoped for, and it did it. So I when it was over, was like, I enjoyed it.
To be fair, I think the original movies have a little bit more nuance.
Sure.
And,
I agree.
And better, just like a better character-driven story than these new ones. I think George Lucas, for all the shit he gets for making the prequels, people kind of write him off as like an idiot.
And I can't stand that.
They write him off
bullshit.
like, George Lucas fucking sucks. This guy fucking up Star Wars.
He ruined it.
Yeah.
But he made like, THX and American Graffiti, these kind of like art house films that were really kind of deep, character driven. And I feel like he brought that to Star Wars. And, as a kid, all this stuff went over my head. But when you watch Return of the Jedi, there's this great deep dive analysis of that movie. I think it's on YouTube, and it talks about like,
seen this.
Luke Skywalker is almost the bad guy in Return of the Jedi, and the movie is really about him coming to the brink of being a bad guy and coming back. All throughout Star Wars, there's this duality, this color scheme. Good guys have the blue lightsaber. Bad guys have the red lightsaber.
Yeah.
Suddenly in Return of the Jedi, Luke has a green lightsaber, which is not good or bad. It could go either way.
Yeah.
Luke Skywalker is dressed in all black. He resembles Darth Vader. He has this mechanical hand. He's turning into a machine just like Darth Vader.
Yeah.
The movie is him coming to the brink of becoming his father and
walking the other way.
Yeah, going away from it. And I feel like that's stuff I didn't really pick up on as a kid, but that's pretty deep. That's pretty nuanced character stuff that I think makes the movie so endearing after 30 years.
And I will say, like, even if that's not that complicated of a notion, I guess why it works, I think, so well in Return of the Jedi is it's not spoken. Like no one's going, huh?
It's stuff I didn't pick up on.
Did you see what Luke did? Yeah.
Luke,
I don't know about that guy. It's never brought up.
In Return of the Jedi, he force chokes one of Jabba's pig guards.
Yeah.
And they point out, like, a force choke is a Sith maneuver.
Yeah, totally.
This guy, he's not just this cut and dry good guy Jedi. He's using underhanded, dark-sided tricks. Like, this is his descent into the dark side, and at the last minute, he turns away. And I almost get chills just thinking about, like, how good that story is. For all the flaws that people complain, like the fucking Ewoks, this fucking kid shit, whatever. There's still some kind of deep character-driven stuff going on in those movies. Mm-hmm. We don't get that from these new ones, in my opinion.
Yeah, if the Luke thing happened in these new ones, he would have a bunch of like visions of him like killing people or something. You know what I mean? Like they would telegraph that 1,000 times. I do agree with that. I do agree. You can tell the original Star Wars trilogy was like mostly an independently made. You know what I mean? Like he funded the sequels himself.
Yeah.
And a studio didn't meddle. These do show studio meddling.
Yeah, I think.
And I've enjoyed. Again, I'm saying this as someone who enjoyed them, but I think I can see that.
They're
hand
fun
in there.
movies, but I feel like it's too many cooks in the kitchen, and you can only get. I think this is the best fucking movie they could have made, given the circumstances.
As big as it is.
That Star Wars has this huge following. Everybody in the world not only loves Star Wars, but is a lifelong fan of Star Wars. There's so much writing on these films. There's so much meddling. It's amazing this film is as good as it is.
Yeah.
But it can only be so good.
Yeah.
Given the circumstances.
Sure.
Now I've talked a lot, so I'm gonna let other people speak. But that was my take on the movie.
I just see a lot of people finding these things, and it's funny, like the dagger thing, or how did Palpatine make 100,000 of these ships on this planet no one knew about? I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't.
That's where I'm
I don't give a
at
fuck.
now.
And you know what? Like I see what you're saying, and you're right. But I don't give a fuck. I just don't. So
why not?
I just don't care. I want to see where the characters go. I don't need to know. I don't need to see Palpatine making the ships. I don't need to see some guy crafting this dagger to show you this is a hidden location. That's how it is, and that's what's going on. Fine.
Well,
That's cool.
I don't need to see them making the dagger.
No,
you
I
know-
want to see them. I want to see them in the shop.
I just think the dagger's stupid.
I don't even need him to explain to me like, oh, I've kidnapped 10 million people and they've been working on this since the whole. I don't. No,
I don't need to see any of that either.
It's all fine.
It was all those
That
cult
would just be
members.
more plot. I don't need any of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I just want to know, kind of. The characters are kind of one-dimensional. I just want to know, are there conflicts? Are there? I just want more like character stuff.
Sure.
Just more, just more layers to those characters.
We got more of the characters on screen. Specifically, I think a character that was underused in the last film was Rose. They introduced her, but she kind of didn't do much. She was off with Finn.
Yeah.
And in this,
Yeah.
she's
I
there.
thought she did a lot more in the last movie.
But that whole thing.
Oh,
in the
Rose
last-
is fucking gone. They
they had her prominently like fighting the war, like at the battlefront, towards the end of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, they had to get her in there. She's such a prominent character from the last movie.
Yeah.
I think that J.J. Abrams like, oh, too much baggage with that chick. Sorry.
And then,
Not going down that road. Because there was such a big fan backlash about that character.
Which
Really?
I don't. Yeah,
I never
got it.
understood that.
I think
But-
he just
Yeah.
minimized her
I never
role
got that.
just to avoid all that. 'Cause-
Really?
'cause
Okay.
people, she's kind of like the Jar Jar
No,
of this.
but I don't
of
get
this
that at all.
trilogy.
But,
Yeah,
but
I never felt
I will
that.
tell you that
I don't feel that way, but
that
there was a huge
story
backlash
arc
about
Sure,
her.
sure.
that her and Finn went on was stupid.
Yeah, that-
but that's
uh,
not the character. The character itself was fine and good, actually. And I think
Yeah.
she's a great actress.
Yeah.
But like going to that planet sucked, and then they went to the thing, and that didn't work out. It was all for nothing. It's like,
Yeah.
why do we even do this?
Yeah,
that made no sense.
That was my least favorite stretch of any of these three movies. And I love Finn, and it's really, I feel that way because I love those characters. I like those characters so much that it felt wrong to me to have them just go get shit in
It
the
was a
last
fetch
one.
quest.
That's what I'm
And-
saying. It was
and
kind of boring. in the
This
last
this one, I thought did a better job tapping into. Oh, Finn's doing we're kind of getting some more emotional shit from him in terms of like he's meeting someone else who went through the same thing as him, and
Yeah.
you know what I mean. It's just tying into again this kind of emotional connection. That's what I like in Star Wars, and I got more of that with him, and I wish because I love that character. I really do love all the new characters. I really do. I actually really
Yeah,
think they did a great
I
job.
agree with that.
And that's why I just wish they had a little more of that in the last one to kind of set it up for something even greater with this one.
I
So,
love.
anyway.
I'm just gonna keep comparing this to the original trilogy.
Sure.
I love
Well, it's
the,
hard not to.
I love the love triangle in the first two movies between Leia and Han.
Right.
Before Leia and Luke are related, they kind of have this.
Yeah.
Is Leia into Han? Is Leia
Right.
into Luke? She kissed Luke. She has this tension with Han. Then they have the maybe the most iconic moment of the whole trilogy. The "I love you, I know."
Yeah.
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 As he's frozen. You don't have that layer in this new trilogy, And I feel like that's just another example of what is so great about the character-driven story of the original that is missing from this new one.
Well, that I will say, I might argue on that
Okay.
point because I thought what was cool was they did the opposite in
Yeah,
this
the
trilogy.
reverse.
I thought they did the reverse, where the whole trilogy, I'm going, Rey and Kylo, brother and sister. Just give me that moment. Give me
Right.
that moment. Oh, the reverse. We're not. They fucking kiss. It was
Yeah.
the,
Yeah.
I kind of
dude.
enjoyed the reverse
That felt
of that.
wrong.
I liked
wrong.
it. I really
I
liked
like-
it.
I liked it
But
too.
I liked it. There was a bit of it, but dude, the dude killed Han Solo. He did not earn the happy life up on the homestead.
True.
He had to die.
Yeah, he had
so I
to
love
die.
that we got that moment
He
and that it was
sacrificed.
taken. I like that.
He
I liked it.
redeems himself like Vader redeems himself, just to compare it to Jedi again.
Right.
It's always the third movie in the trilogy where that villain's going to redeem himself. And like Vader, he sacrifices his life for his father sacrifices his life for his son, and in this, Kylo sacrifices his life by, apparently he can heal.
Yeah, see
Rey
that I
too.
didn't know you could do, but
Well, he learned it. He learned it
They're
from
just
the
pulling
best.
it out of
but
there.
again, but again,
But
I
he
don't
used
care. I don't care.
he saves her, and he's the one who does.
Yeah.
But I did like that they shared that kiss.
Yeah.
because I do
Yeah,
feel
I dug
like
that.
What do you think?
there was a tension
what do
between
you
them
think
romantically.
Finn was going to say to Rey before they got sucked into the
yeah,
sand pit?
that was
They're
kinda
going
left-
down. He's like, I fucking hate Rose. I really want to tap that ass. We never find out.
I chose wrong.
It
Yeah,
it
what
seemed
was it?
like he was going to confess his undying boner for Rey. We never got the conclusion
Never.
on that.
That's what it is.
He's with Rose. He kissed Rose. But then he kind of has this tension with that other stormtrooper.
This new gal, yeah.
Yo, Finn, kind of a dog.
Yeah.
Finn,
Oh, there it is.
bad boyfriend. Cheater. Obvious cheater.
Can't make up his mind. He's
Obviously wants to fuck Daisy
Everyone.
Ridley. Obviously wants to fuck. What was that horseback riding lesson we never saw?
Oh.
Yeah.
They come out on
Yeah.
the horses
Oh.
pretty good after
Taught her-
one lesson.
Go
Taught,
back
taught him how to
riding.
ride.
I
huh?
want to see that lesson because there's some fucking
Interesting.
sexual tension going on. It seems like
Yeah.
a pretty
What was that
important
lesson like?
scene.
ride reverse cowgirl.
Giddy up.
Real talk though, that horse scene is another problem I had with this movie.
Oh, really?
So much happens off screen that
Sure.
I want to see this stuff.
Sure.
You know, Palpatine's back. You said that, cool. I would have liked to have seen that.
That's what. Yeah, that was like rushed out the gate.
Suddenly I know how to ride
Definitely.
horses. Thanks for that horse riding lesson. Hey, that may have been a good scene. Develop these characters a little bit. Take a time to pause and just. I felt like this movie was lacking in just quiet, fun moments. It was so boom, 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 boom. We have to go. We're
Yes.
rushing towards the
Yeah,
end.
definitely.
Chewbacca. Oh, Chewbacca died. Nah, cut to Chewbacca's alive. We put him on another ship. So
Yeah.
I don't need to see that, but that was another example of a lot of stuff that was just happening off camera.
There was a lot of it, yeah. And I definitely agree with you with that. With the for the first half, I really thought like, man, we need some fucking like quiet moments to just like take some shit in. What are we doing? But I did feel the second half I thought was a little better with that, and that was where I let go of it. But in general, I know what you mean. Yeah. The chat is in a pissed mood today.
Why?
Oh,
What's
why?
going
No,
on in the chat?
oh
I
no, no,
can't-
no,
I
no,
can't
no.
see the
They,
chat
Derek,
behind camera.
Derek, you're dead. No, I'm
Why
just
I
kidding.
know?
I'm just
No,
kidding.
no, you're fine.
No. There was just like I don't think there was one person that dug it.
But
in
you
the-
know,
in the
honestly,
chat.
and I
Really?
I feel bad for them, and the people who didn't like it because I liked it. I really liked it.
They feel bad for you.
They do, but it's like, but I was so scared it was gonna be the other way around, and I
Sure.
wasn't gonna like it, and that would have been such a fucking bummer. Would have been such a bummer to me. And I seriously, the movie ended, and I was like, huh. I'm so glad I liked it, and it wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
Brian,
But
everything everyone
Brian
said.
said that's such a weird thing to say, but like I kind of felt that way too, where I was unsure going
Yeah.
into
Well,
this.
I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It was a movie.
Yeah,
it's a fun movie.
I overall enjoyed it. I really but some people in the chat were saying like, how can Rocco agree with everything Derek's saying but say he liked it? But like that to me is what nothing is black and white, and like that's what this is like, you know, there I think the
spectrum.
things that I love, I have lots of criticisms of. And you know what I mean? And I think you should. You know, sometimes I'll say something about like, oh, this one, you know, it happens all the time where I'll say something like could have been improved. And people will be like, wow, I didn't know you hated it. And it's like, no, I want more from this because I do love it. And you know what I mean? So that, you know, I love the Star Wars universe. I'm going to see this fucking movie again because I love that universe. Even if this movie had been worse, I would have gone again because I love the Star Wars universe. I always have. It's always been a source of creative inspiration to me.
Yeah.
So I love it, but there's a million things I would have done this or that, and I think this would have been better and whatever. But that doesn't mean hate, you know.
Can we get
so.
Johnny? Johnny saw it with us. We didn't see it by ourselves.
Get a
And
Johnny take. I want a Kevin take. I want
Johnny.
you know.
I'm gonna say,
Here, Johnny, you got my seat for a second.
Johnny made a comment to me. He wished he had a gun with him in the theater.
Wow.
Kind of inappropriate to say in a movie theater. But
Wow,
I think,
Johnny, it's not
I
the
think he wanted
Joker
to use it on
screening.
himself. Is that a fair?
I
Classification?
wanted to use it on the fucking porgs. Fuck those porgs. No, I'm kidding.
I like yeah.
They're cute.
I want to be like really concise because like this movie made my fucking head spin. I really did not like it, but like for like a fun movie, like in my head I really like thought about like how the Russo brothers will make like fun action movies in the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
and I just felt like this movie like had nothing for me. It was like, the first half of it was like neck-breakingly fast.
Yeah.
Driving me insane. Every problem that had a solution like in a fucking second. It's like, we need this thing. Oh, I have it. Oh, okay. We'll go there. We're here. Blah, blah. But that being said, like once they got into once they went to go save Chewie, I really like that moment.
Like
them
on a Star
Yeah.
Destroyer.
I
them
like that
sneaking
too.
around.
I like that
Running
too.
around. That was great.
That's a New Hope type vibes.
That other planet I enjoyed, and then like the stuff with Palpatine was really great.
Yeah.
But besides that, like, I don't know, man. Like,
Dude, when all those guys are chanting in the audience,
We were
That was
talking
cool.
That
about
was
this
sick.
earlier, and I said something to Johnny because I don't know how you guys felt about the light speed skipping scene.
Oh,
yeah,
Space
that was-
skipping scene.
Is that brand new? What is that?
That was a new thing.
That
Yeah.
to me was kind of where I was like, all right, fucking don't give a fuck about this movie because the people who made this movie didn't
We're
give
making
a fuck
up
about
new
it.
shit.
They make such a point in the original, again, comparing it to the original, maybe that's unfair. They make such this point of like, you can't just go into hyperspeed. What if you crash into a star or
Yeah.
a planet? You need to calculate the thing, whatever. That's in the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
We're in the same ship now, and it's like, hold on, I'm skipping this bitch.
yeah.
And then we're not even like approaching a planet. We're in the atmosphere flying through these pillars. Hold on, I'm getting out of here. Now we're in the green planet. Now we're on the red planet. And I have a theory. I told Johnny, when I was a kid, I used to read books on hypnotism. And there's this thing they do to get you into a state of mind where you're susceptible to hypnotism, where they'll tell you like, hey, imagine a chalkboard and imagine somebody writes the word tree on the chalkboard. Now erase that word. Somebody puts the word sunshine on the chalkboard. They have you imagine somebody putting random words on a chalkboard and erasing them because they want your brain to have all these disassociated images going through your mind rapid fire because that conditions you to kind of leave your preconceived notions behind. Your brain kind of can't keep track with this line of thought. So it goes, all right, I'm not trying to make sense of this. Just tell me what I need to have. Just give me input. And I feel like that's what they were doing with this opening movie, going from planet to planet to planet. They were trying to wash the slate clean of like, hey, whatever you thought about Last Jedi, whatever you thought about Star Wars, now we're on the ocean planet. Are we staying here? No, now we're on the green gas planet. Is this what this movie's going to be about? Psych out. We're on the red planet. And you're just like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I really did feel that the first half.
Where do we go from here? I think that was entirely intentional. I think they were doing hypnosis shit on the audience.
Yeah.
JJ mind trick.
Other
Yeah,
movies have like
Jedi
two
mind trick.
locations, right? Like the original trilogy is usually like a ship and a planet, and those are the two locations. Or am I wrong?
I mean, they go a lot of places in like.
But they take their
Empire.
time.
Yeah.
Every destination has a story to it.
Yeah.
I think this one was just like, a little bit of a
Subliminal.
brainwash.
Definitely.
So
I could see that.
So
Yeah.
that they're like, all right, now that you got the bad taste out of your mouth, this is our story.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just want to say two things and then I'll dip and let you guys continue. But for me, the biggest this is the most concise thing. Like during the part where they're fighting those stormtroopers and they go like, they fly. I guess they fly. In my head, I was like, this is the fucking Bat credit card moment from fucking like Joel Schumacher's Batman. Like, yeah, of course they fly. It's like, yeah, because you wrote this fucking fan fiction ass bullshit. Sorry.
Hey, Mandalorians can fly.
I was gonna say that
Yeah.
I really enjoyed like the Mandalorian. I think this made me appreciate the Mandalorian way more.
Yeah,
like just having
yeah,
like
yeah. I
a
could
quiet
totally
like
see
Star
that.
Wars
You know,
story.
Where it's quiet and little.
I don't remember what
small.
I don't remember what
small
part of the movie it was,
story.
but towards the end, I had the same feeling I had watching Inception, where the whole movie set up. We're like, we can't go to level 5. Fuck, we fucking went there. Wasn't that crazy? And in Inception, I thought, well, it's only crazy because you set up that nobody can go there, and then you went there. So it's like manufactured craziness.
Manufactured craziness.
So, just my final thought is just like this movie reminded me a lot of Dark Knight Rises, where it's like that movie was really cool in like 30-minute bursts, and then like something fucking asinine would happen, and then I'd be like, what happened? That just kept happening to me.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like it's whatever. Like if you turn your brain off, you could have like a good time watching this. But
Sure.
for some reason, my brain was just like not turning off. And every certain moment, every couple of minutes, I'd be like, stop, like, what are you doing? But
Yeah. See, Dark Knight Rises for me, I loved it because it was the same kind of like end game sap that I love. So But I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
This movie had the exact same ending as Avengers Endgame.
It did.
We don't
They
have
should've got
enough
the
people.
Russo brothers on
Oh
this
yes,
fucking
you
movie.
do. Look up to the sky. Every fucking ship in the galaxy is showing up. I was just thinking, like, yo, this is where they get all the Marvel heroes together to kick Thanos' ass.
Except, I'm gonna say it.
What?
Hate me if you will. Wedge alone is cooler than all the Marvel superheroes together.
That
That's
was
all.
cool.
I'm just gonna- Hey, you know what? I said
Wedge.
Seeing
we
that
saw
on screen.
Wedge. Hey, that was rad. I thought that was like even Lando. I'm like, okay, yeah, they're
Yeah.
doing the Lando card. All right, Wedge showing up. That's where you got me. That was a cameo I got behind. I was like,
That was
okay,
cool.
thank you for this. Oh yeah, was there?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go now, but I just want to say that shot of the Ewoks really pissed me off. I don't know why.
What?
I don't know.
Okay,
I was
now,
just like,
now
oh,
get
get
out
the
of here.
fuck
Get
outta
out of
here.
here. Because
That
I
was
was
so cool.
Johnny hates
Because I
Ewoks.
was going to say
Johnny hates
Warwick
Ewoks.
Davis.
what I wanted to
off.
bring up.
He's
what-
laughing over there. He
What I
fucking
wanted to
hates
bring up
Ewoks.
next were I wanted to just give a quick short list of the things I genuinely loved in this
Sure.
movie. One was that they fucking showed the Ewoks
Yep.
on the horizon of Endor. Thank you.
Yep.
Because I know someone in that studio was thinking like, this is going to piss some people off. See these fucking things again. Nah, show them. Thank you.
To me, that was
amazing.
that was Wicket with his son.
Yeah.
Like, who he's
Yeah.
probably told about the battles of Endor.
Totally. And I thought that was an earned little cameo.
Some headcanon right there.
Yeah. Well,
That-
it was
that-
Wicket. It was that character.
That was
Yeah.
I think it was, and they said it in the credits, and it was Warwick Davis
Yeah.
again.
No,
But-
was it really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it actually was.
Fuck yeah.
I could tell.
And I love that because that was an
Classic Warwick.
that to me was it's like, hey, it's finally over, and we got a glimpse of the group of beings that were involved in this the last time.
Yeah.
They finally saw it done, and I fucking love that moment. Okay, the other thing that I loved,
Yeah.
we were a portion. I don't know how far it was in the movie, pretty far, but I was thinking, even if this movie shits the bed completely, and I don't like it, and I need a fucking statue of this fucking Palpatine on the fucking mechanical arm. Now,
Yeah.
Oh.
I loved the art design of Palpatine in this movie because I thought it was such a well done extension of this kind of sickening shit that the Sith were doing. Say that 10 times fast. The sickening shit the Sith were doing.
Pretty good.
But
What do they explain
but-
away with, like,
but-
dark science and
well, in Revenge of the Sith, Palpatine kept talking about, we figured out how to create life and extend life and they make it sound like they've got this mystical force on their side. But as that movie goes on, you see like General Grievous, it's a fucking like contraption with a heart in it. Like, what the fuck were they doing? And then Darth Vader is the extension of that, where it's this mangled fucking body that they put in a machine. And it's like, these guys kind of don't really have powers so much as they're like, just like playing God and fucking with stuff. You know what I mean? It was kind of like this kind of like these sickening experiments. And I loved that Palpatine was an even further progression of that shit, where it was like a fucking dead body on a mechanical arm. It looked like fucking Jonathan Davis from
It was like
Korn's
Geiger
mic
shit.
stand.
Yeah,
it was
like
like
a
H.R.
jib.
Geiger shit. Like a dead body on a fucking tripod. Like
with tubes and
not a
fluid
tripod, but
coming
yeah,
out
but
and-
on like an
yeah.
arm like this. And so visually, I was like, ooh, loving that. Thank you. So I loved that. And I said it before, but I genuinely loved that moment of Luke lifting the X-Wing up. I thought he acted that so fucking great. I really loved that moment. The music kicked in. It was like the answer that you didn't ever thought you needed,
Yeah.
from Empire. I really liked that moment, and him with that look on his face, just like, you just really see it in him, like, I mastered this. Like in death, I'm like, I know like kind of where I stand kind of thing. And
Sure.
I don't know. I like that part. I know there's other things I'm trying to think of, but I can't think of it.
I was really impressed by the scene where Rey gets back into the damaged Death Star and she's
Yeah.
sitting there looking at Palpatine's throne. And then, like, Palpatine's bedroom door opens on the left there, and she
Yeah,
goes
his
in there.
bedroom.
That, to me, mimicked Luke going into the cave where Yoda tells him, like, don't take your weapons in there. You're not going to need them,
Yeah, well, obviously.
You bring in there what you know,
Yeah.
if what you bring in there is what you're going to face. And we had that Luke seeing himself as Vader.
Yeah.
You had that juxtaposition with Rey in there finding, her Sith
I
version.
think that's what they were going for.
Definitely, but I like
it wasn't
that.
the same. It was kind of a bummer how derivative it was from that original scene. Luke goes into that cave. He sees Darth Vader. He doesn't know the twist.
It's more disorienting.
He
than
sees Darth
anything.
Vader, and he's like, "Oh fuck, Darth Vader's here! I wasn't expecting that." And he fears Darth Vader so much, he instinctively whips out his sword and strikes him down. Then the mask blows up. It realizes
it's
Luke
him.
is in the inside. It's this warning of you coming in here with your fear, your instinct to just immediately kill Darth Vader. That's you turning into Darth Vader. You're descending to the dark side.
Yeah, and it was a little more symbolic. There was a little more interpretation to take from that.
Yeah, Rey going in, seeing herself with the Darth Maul lightsaber with the demon teeth. It wasn't quite the same thing.
Yeah.
Maybe I just haven't analyzed that scene enough, and I don't know what they were trying to.
To me,
that.
I definitely feel like they're trying to symbolize, because throughout the trilogy, it's like they try to redo something from the original, where they're trying, Luke and Leia are twins. Well, they start out trying to make you think that Rey and Kylo are twins.
Yeah.
The kiss being reversed. There's always those themes, the Kylo redemption at the end, just like Vader's redemption. And that just fitting that in there, I guess, was just kind of for me, oh, okay, cool. This is Luke going into the cave.
Yeah.
So I liked it for that. It was different inside when she got in there.
I loved the Luke and Leia training shit.
Oh, me too. I really did too.
Because you never saw Leia with doing that shit.
Yeah.
And, it was cool. Oh, she did
I'm
that.
glad we got
her saber.
just a second of that.
And you see, the mask came up on Luke, and it's that was great.
Yeah.
But then Leia looked a little fake. But it doesn't matter. You know, it's all good.
I will say, I was okay with, because Carrie Fisher died, and they reused a lot of the previous films' outtakes for this. When she was in her speaking roles, I feel like, on that jungle base, it worked. It didn't really take me out. It looked good. But the Luke and Leia was just too far for me. That was the one scene too far where it was
I
the
feel
faces don't
they
look
should
good.
have just let that character die in the second movie. We really didn't need her in this film.
When she floated out.
That's what I was going to say was, what I can't understand here is that you had that big moment with her and she got blown up in the ship in Last Jedi.
Yeah.
And then, oh my God, she's finally using the Force. Holy shit. And they never talk about that ever again in this
comes
movie.
up again.
Right.
Never came up in this one.
Right.
I did like that she had one last, I liked the final gesture she had in this. But did it? Yeah, I kind of wonder if maybe after that first use of it in Last Jedi, they should have just she died.
The last time
I don't know.
Yeah, and if you
I don't
think
know.
about it, the last frailing attempt of the old woman was to use the Force to say her son's name, and that killed her.
Yeah, she really
She says his
she
name.
hated the name Ben that much.
I
says
honestly
it.
feel like if you just took Leia out of this movie, you wouldn't lose a single thing.
Yeah,
Maybe.
you really might. Yeah, I think they didn't want to, because I remember I kept hearing before this movie came out that Episode 9 was Leia's movie.
Yeah.
That was the plan all along, was Han's movie was kind of that first one.
Yeah.
Then Luke gets his moment, and then Leia is kind of, because remember what they say in Return of the Jedi, or Empire and Return of the Jedi, there is another.
Yeah.
You're not the last hope. There is another. And it was always kind of set up Leia will do something great. And I think this was always, even in George Lucas's treatments, I bet this was the movie where that would finally happen.
Right.
So I bet behind the scenes, no one really wanted to remove her from it. No, but she's supposed to do one last great thing. And, so I could see being in that position and not wanting to do it. But yeah, really, on our end.
Did you guys-
did we need it? I
That
don't know.
makes sense.
Change of subject.
Yeah.
Sure.
Have you guys ever seen Carl Sagan review Star Wars?
No.
Oh, yeah, he
Johnny
was on a
Carson?
talk show, right?
Yeah, he's on Johnny
Yeah,
Carson.
yeah.
I heard you've seen this new film Star Wars. Did you like it? 'Cause, he's a big science guy.
Yeah.
And his only thought is I was disappointed that the Wookiee character did not receive a medal at the end of the film.
Yeah.
He's like, the Wookiee was with them the whole time on the
Yeah.
whole adventure. participating just as much, if not more, than other characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why did they not give him a medal? Did he not deserve it?
Yeah.
I think it is a case of classism, even in
Yeah.
the future. That's
That's
all I was thinking about
hilarious.
when they give when they give Chewbacca the medal at the end of this film. I'm like,
Leia's
well,
medal.
Carl Sagan would be happy.
Yeah.
He's smiling on us or up
He's
above.
smiling.
I'm happy.
His review-
I liked it.
I like that moment.
I did
liked
like
it.
I liked how he broke
I
down.
liked it.
Haven't seen it yet. What was this movie rated? Because there was
PG-13.
Okay,
X.
I was gonna say
yeah,
Triple X.
Palpatine's death kind of
Why
shocked
there's a
me,
sex
a
scene in
la like Raiders of the
Yeah.
Lost Ark
Yeah,
face melting.
yeah.
It was very advanced, I would say,
Well,
for like a kids movie.
Here's the thing. They they had to show you he's actually dead this time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he's come back
Don't throw him
now.
down a hole.
And-
That
yeah,
and a
right?
lot
Like
of- a
we were
lot
all
of
I was
wounds.
positive before this movie that he was fucking dead. So
I was surprised
I
they-
need
Dude, I'm telling you, most badass 12-year-old wrote this movie.
Yeah, show
Yeah.
me
And
the
then
body.
she gets 2 lightsabers, and she's like, ah! And she reflects the dark lightning back on him, and it melts the skin off his face.
Oh, that reminds me though, in terms of ability shit, the other thing that I actually really liked in this movie,
Yeah.
one thing that I had heard long ago was, hey, this movie introduces new force powers that are going to piss people off. And I that could be 2 things. One, it could be the healing thing. I could go either way on that. I mean,
Sure.
it provided, I thought, a good ending.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but in general, that existing, I'm a little like, okay. But
It's
but
new.
the thing I liked was the not teleportation, but like physically
Yes.
manifesting somewhere else. Hey, I was fucking into that because every Star Wars movie, I think a lot of people don't realize. Because, like, I remember people raging about Luke doing his, like, projection thing in Last Jedi.
Right.
But that was one thing I didn't have an issue with because there's a new Force power in every single Star Wars movie. You had the Force doing one thing in A New Hope. Then in Empire, we start to see, ghosts are walking around.
Yeah.
Shit. And then 3, I mean, when Palpatine does lightning, we'd never seen that
that's
before.
new, yeah.
That was like, wait, I'm sorry, what? He can shoot fucking lightning out of his... So this is not a new thing that like a movie introduces like, whoa,
Right.
they figured that out. So I liked that aspect of it. The healing thing, that kind of opens Pandora's box a little bit. I liked the ending moment it gave us, but whatever. But that I liked that.
Yeah.
I thought that was fucking sick. When he was unarmed with the Knights of Ren,
And then she
just thought, and then he had that fucking saber, and he just looks at him like, "You're fucking dead." Like
I
like that. I like that.
The
moment.
progression of their link, like in the previous movies, they could look at each other from across the room and
Yeah.
talk to each other.
Yeah.
And then it built up to where they can actually fight each other.
Yeah.
From 2, and I thought that scene was great. How
Yeah.
it kept switching between the
The
inside of the ship.
locations.
Yeah.
that was cool.
And then at parts it would be like the background was the plaza and the foreground was the inside of the ship. Like they
Yeah.
did that really well.
I really liked that. Yeah.
all the way to where
Oh, sorry. go
no,
ahead.
just the progression of like them ripping things from that other physical space. Like he gets her necklace and later
where they
and
are,
then
yeah.
later the
I
saber.
feel like they took it a step too far.
really.
Well, I thought the healing did.
I
That's
think
where I
the-
sit.
maybe.
With that.
Well, I'm
But-
more comfortable with healing. The psychic projection, whatever. People who are strong with the Force have a psychic connection to one another. I think they relied on it too much. There's so many scenes in this movie where they're like talking across time and space. It's like, well, this is just becoming convenient for the people writing this story. But being able to physically transport stuff, I'm like thinking, well, the Force is like a life energy. How does that? You can teleport inanimate objects across time and space. It just seems a little too convenient.
But I think I am using the part of my brain, much like you have said earlier. I think I am using the part of my brain that loves Dragon Ball Z. Really, really,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because
I don't think I said
remember
that, but
because
somebody did.
no, but you know what I mean. That same 12-year-old part of my mind.
sure.
Yeah. That same 12-year-old part of my mind was fine with it because I remember watching that show and Goku got so powerful that he figured out how to just be somewhere else.
Yeah.
And so in my mind, why is Kevin? It's a serious
you know,
show.
like
cracking up.
the healing ability, I feel like
That's
all right. Well,
Dragon Ball
the
too.
It's a
Force-
life
the
energy.
Force
Yeah,
is
yeah,
a
yeah.
manipulation of life energy.
Sure.
Okay.
You know,
So you're getting- yeah, I
you
can
can
see
give
that.
your own life energy to somebody else, but like
see that.
I can use my life energy to steal your necklace. Like, fucking steal $1 million and go live in peace.
But that's the dark side. See, the dark
Yeah, go
side's good.
fucking rob a bank with the Force then. Like, what are we doing?
That's Sith shit.
What were you gonna say, Kevin?
No, I was cracking up because earlier you said about Palpatine's death and how he like blew apart and like vaporized, and it's like that's what Dragon Ball does. Like
Yeah,
when you
that's
want
Dragon Ball.
when you want to prove somebody's
I didn't
dead,
even think about that.
you said that that's what they do.
Oh yeah,
Kevin,
you
Kevin hasn't even
explode
seen
them.
Dragon Ball Z, but he's heard me fucking go off on it so many
that's
times.
how you know they're
I
dead.
told him because Kevin was asking about character death or something in Dragon Ball, and I said, in Dragon Ball, remember, the character's not fucking dead until you get the white energy washing over them and they break into pieces.
Yeah,
And even
vaporized.
then, maybe
Kevin,
they're not dead.
I didn't realize that totally happened in this movie. You totally got the DBZ
Palpatine's
death.
Dunzo.
Yeah, you knew Palpatine was Dunzo when you saw he died cell
Well,
style.
even by DBZ rules, he could come back. You know, he could find a way.
Yeah, they get the Dragon Balls.
Do we get Kevin's take on it?
No, Kevin.
What do
we
you
need
think,
a hot
Kevin?
take.
I absolutely loved it.
Okay.
Kevin
but-
has. Well, let me just.
Yeah,
Sorry, not to
preface
cut.
this.
Kevin has left every Star Wars movie. Some I've been present for, some I haven't. But he has now seen all 9 in a relatively short amount of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And after every one of them, every prequel we expected, oh, this one will crack him, this one will break him, and every time was, man, I had a great time.
Nothing had to live up to anything for me.
Yeah,
because
true.
Yeah.
I did not grow up with this. I
Yeah.
never owned that lightsaber. Is the first Star Wars thing I ever bought.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
the lightsaber at Disneyland.
I wish.
And I thoroughly enjoyed the entire saga from episode 1 to episode 9. Some are bad, some are good, but I overall like them all. So
Yeah.
How
But
about
It's
again,
kind
I
of
didn't
a
grow up with these, so I was there's no disappointment.
Self-disqualifying statement a little bit.
What
Love
about
this
Solo?
movie. Love the prequels as well. Loved them all. All brilliant.
But I know what you mean.
It's
when
overall
when
the
you
whole
come
thing.
into it with a total blank slate, it's just like, yeah, this is all fun to watch.
When episode 1 came out, I wasn't like I had never seen Star Wars,
Right.
so
That's-
I never
wow.
saw episode 1. I never
Yeah.
saw the 2 or 3. I didn't
You
care.
just avoided all
I didn't
that
care
hype.
at
But
that
you know,
point at
this
all.
is this was kind of me when I watched all of Game of Thrones in the last year. Is even when this new season was airing, I was just like, yeah, that episode was fine, and everyone's like, that was the worst fucking episode. Are you kidding me? And I was like, I just kind of showed up
Yeah,
to this. You know what I mean?
here.
and I could see what people were saying. I acknowledge like, oh yeah, this was written kind of.
Here for a good time, not for a long
But
time.
but
New
you
to
know
the
what I
party
mean?
and
I had
having a
just
blast.
kind of shown up, so I was
And
like,
you
yeah,
know,
okay. all right.
I'm thinking more about it, and I'm thinking like, why didn't I care that all these plot holes existed? Why don't I care? And I think, Derek, you were right. It's a 12-year-old's wet dream. And I watched this movie, and ever since I was 8, I was obsessed with Star Wars, and I got my 8-year-old self is like,
Yeah.
fuck yeah, we got it.
Yeah.
And I feel good, and I really, I loved it. I fucking
I
loved
think
it.
that is the common opinion. This is not an insult
No,
to a similar.
I won't
I
be
mean, I
offended.
enjoyed this movie on a certain level too for the same reason. I think that's literally everybody's review. If you like this movie, it's like, I don't give a fuck. What's your fucking problem?
Yeah.
You hear the problem? Yeah. I don't give a fuck. I liked it.
Yeah.
Oh, you had a problem with that? Interesting. I don't give a fuck about that. It was
Yeah.
great.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is what I imagined when I was a kid. They nailed it.
Yeah.
You know, my analytical side is like, well, I have questions about how this would work.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Interesting. Don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not offended because that is exactly how I
Yeah,
feel.
no, on a certain level, that's how I feel too. That's what I
Yeah.
mean is like, I don't care enough to hate this movie
Sure.
because, you know,
I really went.
I'll always have the original trilogy.
Yeah, and
100%.
I really went into this trilogy again like my Star Wars saga ended at Return of the Jedi, and I've always loved that ending. And I really went into this like, this is all bonus material, and that's how I always looked at like when I'd read some of the Star Wars books that were out. Where I always thought were kind of dorky, but you know it was like extra stuff. Like, oh, we're in this universe again. All right, great. And that's how I feel about this new trilogy. Is it was like it gave me another adventure in this, you know, whatever. And I've listed my complaints with it. But yeah, it was revisiting that universe, and it was an extra thing in a way that I really did enjoy. It was just there are things.
Of course.
Well,
Do you think?
But I will say this. I think these are. I think how do I say this? This is a weird thing to say, but these were good. there were good movies here in terms of like they were made in a way that they were real movies. I don't know how to describe it, but with a lot of problems. Whereas the prequels, it was like these were bad movies out the gate that might have good things in them. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Like the prequels were like, what even are these? What even is Star Wars anymore?
They're shot on like video.
They're shot on video, and like there aren't really. It felt like there aren't even humans in them anymore. You know what I mean? It just felt like, what is this? But there would be cool things in them.
Yeah.
These are
Duel of
real.
the Fates.
These feel like real movies, just with some unfortunate meddling and some unfortunate decisions. At the end of the day, I think I still prefer that to what the prequels were.
1000%.
But
I do.
But there's things I like about the prequels in the sense of like they're still George Lucas showing us he never wanted to repeat himself. He wanted to show us crazy shit. And there's stuff in those movies that isn't in any other movie. And I do appreciate that.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not gonna say they're good, but you know what I'm saying?
You know what?
They
Whatever.
got good parts.
I went to the comic book store yesterday. No, Wednesday, new comic book day, and
Yep.
the comic book store I go to. I hope this guy isn't watching, but it has the classic like comic book asshole who works there.
Yeah.
It's like a big dude.
Is it nearby?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I used to go to this one when I was a kid, Derek.
There's a super fucking condescending dude.
I
who
do
works
not go.
there.
I went in there about 2 times as a high schooler, and
Yeah.
I was like, I'm never
He's
fucking
very,
coming
he's
here
very,
again.
He makes you feel like a fucking idiot.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I was in there browsing comics, and this middle-aged couple came in looking for comics to buy their son, and they were talking to this guy, and they're like, the new Star Wars is coming out on Friday. Are you excited? The guy who works there, absolutely. I am very excited. I already have my ticket. I plan on seeing it first thing on Thursday. And then the man from the couple went, yeah, I'm hearing reviews are not very good. And the guy goes, I don't care what anyone has to say about this movie. Everybody has an opinion on Star Wars. They are usually wrong.
Whoa.
I like to form my own opinion. And the middle-aged guy was like, yeah, no, totally, me too.
Good idea.
And he's like changing the subject,
Yeah.
and he's like, there's no way this movie is going to be as bad as the prequels. That we can agree on that.
Uh-oh.
And the guy was like, I don't hate the prequels. My problem with the prequels is they made Anakin, pardon my French, a whiny little bitch. And it's just, why you have Darth Vader, but he came from this whiny little bitch kid. And that is just what's wrong with those movies. And I was listening to him over my shoulder thinking like, you don't get what they were going for there. I feel like as much as the prequels get shit on, I think there's a huge population out there that kind of doesn't get what they were going for. Like, yeah. Anakin was a whiny little bitch. Yeah, he had feelings of inferiority.
Most little kids do.
Yeah, he had all this like pent up rage and he didn't know how to properly deal with it. That's why he fucking becomes Darth Vader. He becomes an evil person because he was such a broken and like
Unloved child.
yeah, he had a fucked up childhood.
Yeah.
I'm sorry it wasn't like the star quarterback on the football team decides to become this badass villain. I felt like
Darth Vader crushed it in high school.
yeah, I don't
man.
know.
He
Like,
got laid, and
I
then
don't
he-
think the prequels are like amazing movies, but I think that there's
Yeah.
like a powerful sentiment about like Darth Vader was a really unlikable kid who, had his life fucked up and nobody really liked him, and that turned into all this pent up rage turned him into Darth Vader.
Yeah. I disagree with the notion of I feel like there's been a recent notion of the prequels were good actually, and I think that's nuts. But I also don't think I also disagree with what you were saying earlier, that this notion that George Lucas is like a crazy idiot too, or
Yeah.
maybe he might be crazy, but that he's a moron or something. Like I feel like he had a lot of the intention that he put into stuff. You know what I mean? Like
I feel like he was going for something, and
Yeah.
everybody just immediately rejected it. They're like, "Why are you
Yeah,
making
yeah,
Darth
yeah.
Vader a whiny little bitch?
Yeah.
Give him a fucking lightsaber already. Have him fuck people up. Come
Yeah.
on."
Which It's only the first movie. He's a little kid. I mean, Hayden Christensen starts to take it into more of an adult role.
I think people
Yeah,
hate.
he's at his whiniest, I think, in the
Yeah, I
second
think
one.
people. I think he's mostly talking about the Hayden Christensen.
Oh, okay,
films.
okay.
Where-
But what were we just
Talking about the
you know what?
prequels.
The prequels being good isn't
George
true.
Lucas, you know, he's Adam McClunky. You know, like fuck off. Like, you know, like I don't know.
I mean,
like,
don't get me wrong, he
can't
did
stop
crazy
fucking
shit.
with his own shit.
He's
Like,
got
yeah,
boom-
I
I
can't
don't
stand
forgive
it.
him.
He's
for,
got boomer brain.
I don't
can't
know
help
what,
it.
I don't know what he's got, but he's got something. But you know, like I see what you're saying. He was going for something.
You know,
but he also can't get out of his own way.
I agree. I
I'm
agree.
not arguing that the prequels are good, but I watched this Star Wars deep dive on YouTube that was all about the prequels in context with the original trilogy, and it's like George Lucas was a huge fan of Greek mythology, and Star Wars is his version of like adapting Greek mythology. And they were talking about how there's this concept in Greek mythology of like cycles, and every story is told in this cyclical way over multiple movies. And they start comparing, like, look at the opening shot with the first movie with the closing shot of the last movie. They're framed up exactly the same way. Now look at the last shot of the third movie with the first shot of the fourth with the first prequel, and they mirror each other. And he put all these, like, I think he was on just this next level, and people were not, unless you've studied Greek mythology and you're like getting off on that stuff, people are just like, what the fuck is going on here? I think he got like too intellectual about it.
Yeah, I do think.
But
I think what. Oh yeah, what were you saying?
No, I think just on a certain level, there's really interesting stuff there, but it was just all like too subversive.
Yeah.
I feel like my complaint with this new trilogy is it's not nuanced enough. I think the prequels are too nuanced.
Yeah, to where it. Yeah, but I agree with what Sean said. Is he was kind of his own worst enemy. He kind of got in his own way about a lot of it, and kind of went too far down the rabbit hole in a way that people couldn't follow it. Kind of maybe, but I do think that there's a point I want to make, and I keep forgetting it every time I have the chance to say it.
Prequels.
It's really. I do think. I remember being there as Revenge of the Sith was wrapping up and thinking, like, you know, he really did take these prequels in a bizarre kind of direction. You know what I mean? Like, and thinking, like, you know, this guy, what is wrong with him? He is weird. But then I do remember that moment where Vader is first made and he gets off the table, or, you know, whatever, and he breaks out of it and he like stumbles. And I remember a few friends that we were with were like, and when it was over, I asked them, I'm like, why were you getting so upset during that part? And they were like, I thought he'd be badass. Why is he stumbling around? I thought he'd be badass. And that was when I thought, well, a lot of this is on the fans too. You know what I mean? Why was this guy who just had his body fucking jammed into a machine? What badass shit was he gonna do? Just got off the operating table. Oh, give me my.
He lights a blunt.
Give me a Ferrari.
Bring it the fuck on.
All right. Give me a cigarette.
Yeah.
I'm out this bitch. Vader out. Like, what was he gonna do?
Peels out in his Death Star.
Smokes the blunt,
Like, what-
grabs the top on the girl, yanks it down, the nice boobs. Oh, who's vaping with me? Sure, you got a problem?
Light speed.
Oh, yeah, I'm Vader, bitch. Yeah, I have a gun now. Fuck, Sith got guns. Lens shattered.
Put some wings
Check
on
out
this
my gun
Ferrari.
saber.
We're
Be
flying
big,
this
be
bitch into
badass.
space. No.
Suck this, Rogue One.
Is that a fart?
You know what?
Fart out my ass.
Could have been.
If they filmed the movie, you would have known. Didn't do it. But anyway, really praying someone animates that. Anyway, but you know what I mean? That was when I started to think it was right, and it was right at the end of that prequel trilogy. I thought, you know, he was crazy, and these weren't great movies, but some of it does sometimes fall on the fans. You know what I mean? And I do feel like there is an element, and it leaked into these new movies of the fans don't know what they want, kind of.
They have a movie in their head,
yeah,
but it's not a real movie. It's a movie in your head.
it's a
Yeah.
feeling.
yeah.
And when they don't
So-
get it, they rail online.
They had to appease everyone, and that's not possible.
Yeah.
True.
And like, I honestly am truly shocked. Force Awakens universally, I thought pretty well received. Like that movie did way better than it should have, honestly. And Last Jedi failed, and this one probably, it seems like it's pretty polarizing. But like, the fact that they were able to pull off Force Awakens at all is a miracle. So, you know, like, I don't know.
I do think it's what I think they do deserve some credit for is I did go into Force Awakens going, this better be a lot of Han Solo because there's no way.
I'm sorry, y'all. I gotta go.
Oh,
Okay.
shit. Emergency bounce.
No worries.
Yeah, I get it. We'd probably end this soon too.
Yeah, we'll wrap this up.
Use the force.
I started giving credit to the new movies. Derek left, so it just goes to show you,
He doesn't wanna hear it.
These kind of snowflake opinions can't share it. Also, I hate him. So now we got that. We finally got it on camera. We hate each other.
Yeah, it's
I'll
out.
prove it.
Cat's out the bag.
No, anyway, no. But I just want to say the one thing that I will say they deserve endless credit for is that like I said when Force Awakens was coming out, I was like, it better be a lot of Han Solo because these new characters. No one's gonna want new characters in this beloved Star Wars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Thing. No one's gonna want these new people.
Right.
That's gonna be a disaster. And those new characters really were like mostly really likable.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I
for
loved them.
sure.
I really loved. I loved all the new characters.
I did. I will go as far as to say is I think Rey could be in my top 4 Star Wars characters. I really loved the character Rey. I thought that was fucking great.
Yeah.
And yeah, by the end, it's like the end of this movie is like the new characters hugging, and I'm not thinking,
And
oh,
I had
where's
goosebumps during
yeah,
that.
Yeah,
yeah,
same here.
It's like, oh, I don't need her. I don't need them.
I thought, but I did think like the correlation. It's like, oh, there's the Han, Leia, and Luke kind of scene right there with the three of them hugging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I all likable characters, all fleshed out.
I'm a fan of the like will they or won't they villain kind of thing, and
Yeah.
so Kylo Ren was like
Kylo was
one
great
of my,
too.
One of my favorite
Really good.
characters.
Agreed.
I really
I agree.
enjoyed all those characters. I like fucking Rose. I really like all the new characters.
I like that we got Kylo's mask back.
Yeah.
With like an upgrade.
The red was cool.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
looked
But just
cool.
the fact that he all right, we're doing away with this in the last movie, no more mask. But then he's like, no, fuck it, I need it back.
Yeah.
I've got my Knights of Ren now, which
Yeah.
interestingly enough didn't fight with lightsabers. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, that is.
But I guess
interesting.
they weren't Sith. They were just
I
his
don't know.
elite.
No, weren't they other students
With
in his
Luke.
I
class?
thought, when he destroyed the place, he ran off with like
The
his
Knights
best
of Ren.
students.
Yeah, other
Yes,
students.
and those were the Knights of Ren.
But why didn't they have lightsabers then?
Well, he now keep in mind they are not the Sith. They are the
First
First
Order.
Order.
True.
And he only had a lightsaber because he tried to half-ass make one. He is not trained in doing that, and that's why
It's all fucked up.
That's why
Oh,
Kylo
yeah.
Ren's lightsaber has vents on the side and shit because he didn't
Wires
he doesn't know how to
exposed.
regulate that power. He doesn't know how to do any of that shit.
Yeah.
So that's why he has one. The other guys were probably like, "Fuck that! I'm not making.
But-
Are you kidding me? I'm not
I ain't fucking
making
with
that."
kyber crystals.
Before we end this podcast, which
I'm
I think
not done.
Oh, okay.
I got a lot more to say.
Go ahead.
About
gonna
Rey's
get-
new
I'm gonna get-
lightsaber.
I'm not editing this one, so I don't really care what you have to say.
Is
Well, I do want to say again, Piss Saber is canon.
Yeah.
yeah. When
I
are
knew-
that's what I was gonna say. When are they adding the
Those
Rey
parts?
build into the Galaxy's Edge?
Yeah.
Because
That's got to be new crystal.
was
in it,
sick.
right?
I don't think it'll be a buildable one. It guaranteed will be one of the pre-made ones. under
Legacy
the
saber?
counter. Yeah.
I was gonna say Leia's saber is gonna be in that store at
Sure.
Doc Ondar,
Leia-
right?
Oh, for sure.
Leia's saber should be so, but Rey should be as well.
The new one
but
you're talking.
but you're saying when you go to Doc Ondar's, yellow isn't an option, and I bet they'll add it. I bet
yeah.
they'll add the yellow, and I bet they even said to these fuckers, "Hey, get a lot more yellows coming because that's gonna be a fucking
Yeah.
thing." Because Rey is fucking badass and with a lightsaber for sure.
That
for
was
sure.
another thing, though, that I said to Kevin before this movie started. I'm like, someone's getting a new lightsaber color, and then that's going to be in Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
I said that. There's so much I predicted.
Yeah.
Go back and find
You
the
knew.
podcast where I laid this out.
I just keep thinking we gotta see
I'm-
Leia's
I'm
lightsaber.
so-
That's so fucking cool to me.
I'm
I don't know
so-
why it's so cool, but it's fucking awesome.
I just want to say real quick, I'm so smart.
You are. You are.
You are.
But
Round of
get a
applause.
two-shot of me and
It's your
Rocco.
birthday, I'll give it to
Can
you.
you get a two-shot of us? We are so fucking smart.
Don't say.
All right, just
we
a one
we
shot
were
of
both
Rocco.
right, and I'm gonna look at my dog today and be like, "You're welcome. I did you a solid, dog."
Put me next to that. Put me next to that GIF of Oprah where she's doing this.
Rey Skywalker, my dog. You're lucky.
Well, Rey Palpatine.
Nah,
you're
she
both
changed
right.
it. She changed it.
Go back to a
Okay, who
two-shot.
named the dog though? Did the kids name the dog?
peop-
It was a joint effort. It
People
was
at
a
home who
joint
might not
effort.
know, they named their dog years ago.
This is when the first one just came out.
After the first one just came out, Rey Skywalker. They named the dog that, and I was like, dude, you're gonna have a letdown there. She's not gonna be a fucking Skywalker. I was right, but
So was I.
Might have had
So
to put
was
the
he.
dog
She-
down.
The last line.
I mean,
the
if you're
trilogy.
wrong,
I will say,
you
I
can't
will
rename
say,
a dog
and
after 5 years.
I don't want to end this
on.
on a sour note, but I will say there was. I mean, I don't mean to crap on whatever. I again, the second half they had me.
Yeah.
Sure.
I didn't think there was any reason for her to go to the Luke's old home.
Oh.
That was
She
to me. I
buried
was
the
like,
lightsabers
man,
there.
they're doing everything to just get back to the shot of those two sons.
Yeah. Oh, I was.
You know what I
oh,
thought?
No,
I
thought loved it. Loved it.
I thought that she was going there to retire a hermit's life in that old moisture
no,
farm.
I didn't think that because it wasn't about that.
When they set that up, like she lands, she goes through, and she's checking out the old moisture farm. I'm like, oh, I mean, the war's over. She's gonna go retire here and hide the lightsabers. Yeah. But no, it was just kind of
I
to
thought
get that shot of the moons.
I liked it, and I'll tell you
suns.
why. Because both of their bodies disappeared into nothingness, into the Force.
Yeah.
And there was no burial or anything for them. And I thought it was awesome that she took what was left of them, their lightsabers, and then took it back to the place where Luke was like, he grew up, his home, and then buried it there. And that's where they're like, that's them. That was their funeral, and she put them to rest. I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
got the ending with the music.
I wasn't
Oh,
like
mwah.
I wasn't like fuck this, but when she went there, I was just like, she doesn't have a connection to that. I don't know. And someone mentioned in the chat like Luke didn't like it there, but
that was his home.
But it was
Like it or not.
thematically whatever. And she went back to his childhood home and thought that's the place to put
That's
him.
the
So
place.
I wasn't,
That's the place to
I
bury
wasn't
him.
like fuck this, but yeah, I was,
Nothing
should've
but
went-
sand.
She should have went back into the old fridge and got some like rancid blue milk.
that's what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
I wanted her to walk down there and go, "What's that rancid stink?" And then she opened it up, and that's how it ended. Was like a swig of the fucking just
Of
like
Aunt Boo's.
the two sons, and she's just go.
Aunt Beru's
Oh,
old
it
brew.
does taste salty. Coming Galaxy's Edge next time, and then credits, right?
Credits. Yeah.
Real quick, Brian, your take.
Let's see. Okay, real quick. Hold on.
Oh, sorry, I don't know
On
if you
the
can show
spot.
yourself.
I mean, he didn't even have any heads
Show
up.
yourself. Brian, show
Let me see if
yourself.
I can even. There we go. Here I am.
Okay.
My takes. I think everything that you guys just said was pretty much right. Either you want to suspend your disbelief enough to go along with the ride of Star Wars the same way you would when you go in to watch wrestling. You know it's fake. You know it's not real. You know they're going to do wacky, goofy, silly shit. Or you don't. And if you do, I think you're going to be more accepting of some of these ridiculous plot points or some of these things that you don't like. If you're going into a Star Wars movie thinking it's going to be an intellectual film, you should leave the theater. This movie is for fun. This movie is supposed to be a bunch of people running around shooting laser guns, having lightsaber battles, and the battle of good and evil is supposed to be tipping very, very much always towards the good side most of the time. They nailed all of that.
Yep.
It's a Star Wars movie. It was fun.
Yep.
It was cool.
Yep.
It was badass. It was not deep. It was not like.
But I still got emotional.
Yeah.
But it was still
yeah,
emotional.
that was the most I hoped for. It was emotional melodrama. I fucking got that in spades,
Yeah.
man.
And,
I-
to be fair, like, hey, two characters gave me the biggest emotional responses out of anybody in the film that I did not expect. C-3PO
Yes.
and Chewbacca.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Two
totally
moments-
hear you.
Two
Yeah.
moments in that movie that I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
A speechless Wookiee can make me feel, and so can this droid.
That is it's supposed to be annoying.
Are you talking about when they tell Chewie that Leia's gone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was embarrassed that I was breaking down and like fucking tears were rolling down my
Yeah,
cheeks.
it was
I'm
sad.
Yeah.
like, just by his.
Hey, I
so
thought
good.
3PO, this was his best movie.
I agree.
Yes.
I
I
agree.
thought
I
3PO,
agree.
in the prequels, 3PO was getting fucking annoying.
Yep.
Like, can we kill this fucker already? Like, I know he's in the later movies, but right? When the point where he's falling on the conveyor belt in Attack of the Clones,
Oh,
and
God.
da-da-da-da-da-da-da, I'm like, yeah, cool, delete this, right? I remember Kevin was like laughing during that part, and maybe not in a good way. This movie, I was like, I'm fucking loving he's here. He's adding something to the story.
Yeah.
And just everything, like the humor was actually funny.
Sure.
Pretty funny, yeah.
He
has
really
moments that were
enjoyed
whatever, but
that. I
no.
really enjoyed. I really liked his presence in this
Yeah,
movie.
and then people, I can see people complaining about like, oh, he gets married back. He said he wasn't going to, and he got it back. It's like,
But that was great foreshadowing
It
because
was-
he says like, "Oh, R2 can't back me up. He's
yeah,
terrible
but-
at everything he does."
But it was
And it's
funny
like,
because it was also an old backup. So I don't know. It was corny, but it was fun.
He's missing like a chunk,
Yeah.
which is I thought that was fine.
Whatever. Bebo, Gitgo, whatever the little thing is.
Yeah.
He's my oldest friend. That killed me.
That was
That
good.
killed me too.
That's funny.
And that was the one thing. Like, I thought there were certain things in this movie that did a really good job of like.
Whoa.
Oh, Derek's back. Did a really good job of-
Yeah, put it back. Put it
yeah,
back.
I like it.
Put it back, Brian.
They did a really good job of telling you things without telling it to you. Like, you know, they would nudge at a couple of things for you, and I think that they did that better in this movie than they did in the other two. You know, just kind of tell you stuff without necessarily telling it to you up front. But I really appreciated that they took some risks with some of the characters, and I appreciated that for what it was. I mean, again, I wanted to see lasers and flights and battles and space and people having, you know, fun. And that's what they gave me.
Yep. Okay, so let's end. Should we end it, or do you have more to
Another
say?
hour. Another.
Left and came back, and I thought we'd all be celebrating that the podcast is over.
Well, I think. Do you want to give this like your definitive review, or do you just want to let people
I already
figure
do that?
figure out? I'm gonna say.
Yeah, Derek did. Derek
I'm
pretty
gonna
much
say
did.
I hated it.
Didn't we spend 2 hours on
Wait, what? Do you think your kid? Because we talked about it being definitely made for kids.
Yes.
Are you sitting there enjoying it?
He is the 12-year-old
for
boy.
them? Yeah.
He's gonna lose his fucking mind.
When you're watching it, are you thinking like, "Holy shit!" Like the. Because I kind of thought like that. Like, I wonder if Sean's thinking about like when I take the kids to see this later.
I
they're
did
gonna
not
love
think
it.
about that, but now I'm thinking about it,
Yeah.
and he's gonna fucking love it.
Lose
he's
his
gonna
shit.
lose
Yeah,
his
yeah.
shit. Totally.
I give it a 3.5 out of 5. Best Star Wars movie in 20 years.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice even number.
Actually, no. Rogue One was so much
Rogue
better.
One's great.
everyone was good.
Did you? Yeah. Now that all of these have come out, would you say that's the best one that they did?
Well, I
like
didn't
Disney?
see Solo.
Oh,
I didn't see
okay.
Solo either.
You're all right.
I hear really positive things about Solo, but I never
Well,
wanted to see it.
Solo is better than it.
Should be.
Yeah.
It's Ron Howard.
But
It's
honestly,
linear, you
I
know?
think if I had to predict, I think you'll feel the same way that I do. You'll watch it and you'll go like, "That was a competent movie," but it doesn't justify it existing. Do you know what I mean? It was like, hey, that was a pretty well done movie, but why did they make a young? We didn't gain anything from a young
Yeah,
Han Solo movie.
I don't remember.
So I don't want to watch it again. Really.
I don't really even remember the plot of Han and Lando doing shit.
Yeah.
Like it was just they're young in this, but I can't remember what they did.
Yeah, but I loved Rogue One.
Yes.
I've never agreed with there are ham-fisted nostalgia like things in it. I don't like the Darth Vader part. I thought that was not needed. These things like that I was not into, but overall as a movie, I thought it was great. I really liked it.
100% agree with Rocco. I love Rogue One. I don't like the Darth Vader part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was needed at all. That
No.
was very like
And that's after credits,
too
right?
much.
No,
fan
no, no,
service.
No, it's the last half hour of the movie.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Okay.
The last
Last
fuck,
scene.
the
Last
last fuck yeah of the movie going to Darth Vader. I'm not down with that, but I overall thought it was a great movie.
Yeah. Overall, I think I give it a 4 out of 5 for myself. 4
4 out of
popcorn
4
shakers.
I was just gonna say 4 out of 5 popcorn shakers.
Yep, that's what I give it. 4 out of 5
I
popcorn
went the
shakers.
whole podcast without calling out people in the chat, but
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Tasty Slopsicle said it scrolled past, but something along the lines of Darth Vader part was amazing. LMAO. This guy's laughing his ass off at how good the Darth Vader part was.
That part, all those fucking people Darth Vader kills, he can't stop laughing.
It's so fucking funny.
That's twisted, bro.
Dude, the Joker is in the chat.
Oh!
That's who it is. Look at oh, no! Play it! We have to see it! No! Oh,
Slopsicle, I can't
no!
believe
Turn the stream off! He's got a gun!
Today's podcast is brought to you by Squarespace.com. Squarespace.com is the all-in-one platform for building websites and online stores to using marketing tools and analytics. Also, there's no plugins necessary with Squarespace.com. They've been publishing websites for over a decade, and they have all the known best practices for search engine optimization without need for additional plugins or anything like that. So check it out, and if you're ready to launch a website, go to squarespace.com/mega64 and get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thanks.